Your financial future isn't about how much you earn. It's about how you think about money. The wealthy don't work for money. They make money work for them. Most people don't realize this until years have already passed. What mindset today are you following? Is it the one that traps you in a struggle, or the one that creates freedom, purpose, and barakah in your life? So Robert Kiyosaki, he grew up with two father figures. Some of you can relate to that, or some of you are like me, where you went and found your rich dad. His poor dad, who was highly intelligent, believed in job security, believed in taking a traditional path. And then you had his rich dad, who taught him how to make money work for him, to invest, to think like an entrepreneur. Both gave him advice. One only created wealth. And this is what this book is all about. How you think shapes your financial reality. And as Muslims, how we earn, grow, and use wealth matters, because we want barakah in every dollar, in every decision. So I'm going to share a personal story with you guys about how my faith influenced a decision. About a month and a half ago, I was in a car accident. Insurance didn't want to fix it. So I'm like, okay, I can either go get a loan, get in the riba. That's a sin of itself. Or I can go get a used car, pay for it cash, and think about how Allah is going to put barakah in every dollar I spent for that used car. And He'll allow it to last until I have enough money to buy the car that I want cash. So it's just small things like that when you're rooted, embedded in your faith, how making decisions are really easy. So let's really get into this book, and let's go to lesson 1. Lesson number 1, financial education is everything. Most people are taught how to earn money, but not how to manage it, grow it, multiply it. You can have a high income and still feel financially stuck, because if you don't understand money, no matter how much you make, it still won't feel like it's enough. You see it all the time, honestly. People making good money, living paycheck to paycheck. That's not an income problem. That's a financial literacy problem. And Allah tells us to be responsible with our wealth, not just accumulate it. And if you don't understand money, you get stuck in a cycle. And that leads to one of the most powerful ideas in the book. The wealthy don't work for money. Most people wake up, go to work, earn money, pay bills, and repeat that cycle over and over again. That's the rat race. And you know what the dangerous one is? It feels normal. There's even a surah in the Quran, At-Takathur, that even speaks to the cycle of people chasing more over 1,400 years ago. The wealthy break out of that cycle by building assets, things that generate income instead of constantly trading their time. Actionable tip for you: track every expense and identify one asset you can acquire this week. Even $5 to $10 invested wisely can grow into something meaningful with barakah and patience. So now we're going to talk about lesson number 2, which is focus on assets, not income. Most people focus on earning more. The wealthy focus on owning more. Assets put money in your pockets. Liabilities take money out. Once you start to understand that difference, everything starts to change. And when you approach this with faith, assets start to become tools to help you support your family, give, help others, and multiplying barakah. Here's where the book challenges people. Robert Kiyosaki says your house is not an asset. Now you might disagree with that, but it forces you to think differently, because most people are buying things thinking they're creating wealth, when in reality they're increasing their expenses. And as for a Muslim, assets have to be acquired in a halal way, which means avoiding riba, interest. There are structures like murabaha, ijara, and musharaka. I'll break those down in another video, but the principles stay the same. Build wealth ethically and responsibly. But here's an uncomfortable truth that most don't want to hear. Many people weren't taught how money actually works, but at some point, it becomes emotional avoidance. Yeah, money can feel confusing, intimidating, even uncomfortable. So instead of facing it, people ignore it. Avoidance feels easier in the moment, but it costs you in the long term. But as Muslims, wealth is an amana, a trust. If something is a trust, we don't ignore it. We learn it, we manage it, and we take responsibility for it. So I'm gonna share a little story with you guys real quick about the first asset I acquired / built up was when I utilized the Amway Corporation infrastructure. They allowed me to have my own health and wellness business. I had a mentor who taught me how to do it. And I would say the first mistake I made when I first started it and started to build it was I didn't know how to build relationships with people. Like in life, you have to build relationships. If you don't build relationships, you will die. Why do you think back then in the primitive times, 400 years ago, if you were kicked out of the village, people would die? Because you need that community. You need that relationship building aspect, comfort of a community to help you grow, or sometimes even stay stagnant. It just depends on your mindset and what you're looking to get out of it. But that's also the lesson I learned was I had to get good at building relationships, because if I didn't get good at building relationships overall, I wasn't going to be successful in life in general. And that bled into family, friends, business, people I met out and about. Like to this day, I still talk to strangers out and about because I developed a habit and a skill set. Am I as smooth as I was back then? No. But what my faith also taught me was to believe in Allah with the results, to have tawakkul, to also have the habits of going out and understanding that you have to build relationships to be successful. Because in Islam, it's community based. So you have to build relationships with the people around you. Actionable tip for you. List one asset you can acquire this week. It doesn't matter how small it is. Take action and trust Allah in the process. So now we're going to talk about lesson number 3, which is fear keeps most people stuck. Poor dad, he avoided risk. Rich dad, he embraced risk. But doing nothing is actually the biggest risk of all. With faith, taking action is a part of tawakkul, relying on Allah, not luck, because you can stay in the same place for years just by not acting. I've come to realize that when you don't track the small habits that you do and you review them daily, it's emotional avoidance. You avoid the emotions of what success could look like, and then you allow yourself to sit in the negative emotions of not tracking those habits. Fear equals stagnation, action equals growth. You can choose. There's 2 different paths, but you know which one to choose. Actionable tip for you. After completing the first 2 actionable tips, take one small action towards building that asset, learning a new skill, or starting a micro business. Have tawakkul in Allah with the results. So now we're going to talk about lesson 4. Don't just work for money. Work to learn. The wealthy focus on skills, communication, sales, investing, opportunity. Because skills give you leverage. Skills turn opportunities into passive income. The more you learn, the more options you create for your life. Knowledge becomes a form of ibadah when used to help others and to steward resources responsibly. Now that you completed the first 3 actionable tips, pick another new skill that will allow you to grow your wealth and to give you the ability to serve others better. So let me ask you something. Which mindset are you operating from right now? Are you building assets or just managing expenses? I remember when I first started to understand this, it forced me to reevaluate how I was using my time, my money, and my energy. And then I remembered, Allah rewards efforts and intentions. One thing I've come to realize is that Journaling allows you to get all the thoughts out. It allows you to have a clear, open mind, to reflect, to celebrate the small wins or the micro successes. Because without those, you just feel stuck. Now imagine this. You change the way you think about money. You've built assets. You've developed skills. You're no longer just working. You're building. And your income is no longer attached to your time. That's not just financial freedom. That's the ability to live intentionally, to support your family, and actually make an impact. Your actions create barakah for you and your family. Because wealth is a tool to do good, not just to live comfortably. At the end of the day, this isn't just about money. It's about who you are becoming. Because the habits you build, the knowledge you pursue, and the risk you are willing to take, they shape your future. So don't just watch this and move on. Take one step, learn one new concept, build one asset, and trust that with the right intention, Allah will put barakah in your efforts. I'll see you in the next one.